Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the My Greek Island podcast with your hosts George Tsounyas
and Maria Tsalkos. Now today we've got a guest and we are building on our episode about sailing in Greece. So if you've not heard that episode, now might be a good time to press that pause button, go back and listen to it and then come back to this one.
Yes, people, then go and listen to it as Maria said and come back to listen to today's episode where we will shortly be heading over to talk to Maria Tsalkos from Magical Sunset, which offers luxury sailing experiences. And I'm going to best quote Maria herself through her website around Magical Sunset. So she describes Magical Sunset as, with a passion for mythology and love of sailing, Magical Sunset was created to guide travellers through Greece's most storied landscape. Their luxury sailing experiences invite you to step into the myths yourself, sailing the Greek islands, discovering hidden cove, ancient temples, and timeless stories that still echo across the seas. So if that hasn't whetted your appetite, I don't know what will.
Yeah, and obviously, before we do head over, and make sure that you do stay tuned to the end, as Maria has a bit of a surprise which is exclusive to the listeners of the My Greek Island podcast. But George, a bit of housekeeping first.
Yes, if you are not following us on Instagram or TikTok, I don't know what you're doing because we say this every time. Press that pause button and head over to the gram or TikTok and give us a follow on that handle at My Greek Island, or on YouTube, which is My Greek Island Pod.
Exactly. And to support the show, like, subscribe, drop a rating, review, share with your friends, family, everyone that you know, because it helps us reach a wider audience. And if you would like to support the show further and have our eternal gratitude, then you can sign up for our Patreon, where you can access our episodes ad-free. You can join the Instagram closed stories group and, of course, access exclusive content.
So, without further ado, let's head over and meet Maria from Magical Sunset. Okay, well, good morning, Maria. Welcome to the My Greek Island podcast. We're so excited to have you on the podcast today. So, how are you feeling?
Oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm really excited to be here. Thank you.
It's great to have you. So, people, you've heard another Maria on the podcast today. So, Maria, let's start. We would love if you could introduce yourself to our audience. Tell us a bit about yourself, about your love for the Greek islands, and especially mythology and the idea of magical sunset.
Okay. That's a loaded question.
It is indeed.
So who am I? I've got a science background, major in physics. So I worked in corporate for a very, very long time. And it was when we as a family moved to Luxembourg when the children were little. And we used to go to Greece every summer. And of course, the children being young, I needed to entertain them. I needed to tell stories. And for me, it was always Greek mythology, partly because even though I was born in Greece, but raised here in Melbourne, Australia, I lived in Greece for 3 years with my grandparents, and I started school there. So my early books and, education was Greek mythology. We played them out in the gardens, we play with my friends, we relive the stories. So the first opportunity I got when I took the children to Greece and we were visiting the islands, I would tell them, relive these stories. And it's really, even to me as an adult, it was a surprise to, when we go somewhere, is to find that there are elements of those stories in true reality. And I thought, did this really exist? Is this,
Mm.
cave or the temple that's connected to the family? And I loved it. And that's how it all started.
Amazing. I mean, Greece, as we know from, my Greek island, allegedly has 227 inhabited Greek islands. But there are also many that are uninhabited, making it probably the best way to explore Greece is by boat. So yeah, that's why you're here
Yes.
today, Magical Sunset. So, what gap did you see in the market
Oh,
of sailing in Greece that you wanted to kind of offer through Magical Sunset?
well, I wish I was that clever and thought about the gap. It
Mhm.
was nothing like that. It was more of a case that, Greece has got 6,000 islands in total,
Mm,
and some of the best beaches, the best places, is the only way to explore it is with a boat. So we took our young family on the boat. We would sail around. We'd find these amazing little coves.
yeah.
That's where, even the archaeological sites today in a lot of places are in remote, the old towns.
Hmm.
So you needed the boat to get to it. And from that, when we started getting families, other people wanting to join us and say, I want to go to Greece with you, is it was always on the cards. We were going to just do it by boat.
Wow. So so that's how kind of the inception began, but how has it evolved over time?
So we've been doing this now with family and friends for over 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And each time it was a different island, each time it was a different myth, each time it was a new story. And about 10 years ago, and we would have very senior executives and their families join us. We were in the island of Kos, and it was, we were visiting the, Hippocratic Oath and the Hippocratic, the Asclepian Monument. And we said, and I said, I can't believe that there aren't all these doctors coming to reenact the Hippocratic Oath. And
Mm.
the guy that was with us, and he says, oh, Maria, this is your calling. You've got to do this. You've been doing this for so long. You've got to do it. And it was like the heavens had opened. And even though he had a Scottish accent, and it was like the gods had spoken to me and said, hurry up and get on with it. And that is how it started.
Wow. No, that sounds amazing. And obviously you had your family and friends, so like proof of
Yeah.
concept. Yeah. So let's move on to like the client experience. And I think Maria's going to have some questions for you on that.
Yeah. So, Maria, well, let's tell our listeners the type, if they were to step on a boat with Magical Sunset, what they would experience. What is the type of tour they would have, and what, in general, what they should expect?
Good question. So, what we do first is our boats are catamarans, and the reason being is they're more stable, they're a little bit more luxurious, they're wider, more spacious, and we opt always for just only a couple of year old catamarans, if not the latest year. So that's one. And we're very highly serviced. So from the minute we pick them up, the only thing we don't do is roll out the red carpet. But we get, seriously, we get the transportation to bring them right on the pier. We have pre-selected for them their food. So people will come to us and they'll have, they may or may not have allergies or dietary requirements. So, I mean, everybody says we want to have a Greek salads. We love the Greek salads, but we're more than that. We provide fish, we'll provide meat dishes. We have, and they'll get a selection of food from photographs with ingredients. So we stock up the ingredients, we put everything in there. We have their favorite cocktails prepared for them. But more importantly is we create a detailed itinerary that makes sure that they're going to see the best of the route or the tour that they've selected. And of course, we engage with them to understand what they like and they don't like, what their preferences are, and we incorporate everything. So whilst there is a structure for them to make sure that they don't miss out on certain things, it is flexible and customized to their needs.
Wow.
And how much of the tours are, so for example, what do you think it is about Greek mythology that resonates with modern travelers in order for you to give that to them through the tours?
Well, when I started it, look, anybody can hire a yacht and go sailing. For me, if you're going to go to, if it's Greece or any other place, you really want to immerse yourself in that culture. So one of the things that I found that people wanted to travel with me to Greece is because they felt that I knew something about the local people. I could provide the culture to them and present it in a fun way. And I really wanted people to fall in love with Greece the way I know it. So the way I know it is through these stories and through these connections and the locations. And so we've got an archaeologist who plays games with them, depending which one of the tours they have. For example, if they do the Odysseus, we create interactive games on board where they'll visit Hades, the monument of the underworld. They'll understand what it means to visit the underworld, what Odysseus felt. They'll go through to Ithaca, they'll see the palace, they'll get a tour guide. Our archaeologist does the archery competition where they actually have the original attire as it was worn and made in that time. And whilst we have it all on display for them and nobody's obligated to wear it, everybody jumps to it, gets a helmet on, gets the shield, gets the bow, and it becomes, and they ask questions. We don't even have to do anything. They ask us questions, so we have it set up. And we play different mythical games. And I say this, even though it's only 10% of the tour, it's so impactful that can you imagine what it's like to follow the path of Odysseus, trying to get home after 20 years and finding out that this bay actually exists and where he walked? So that's what everybody does. You know, they dress up, take photos. Yeah.
And sounds like very immersive, and I love this idea of games. Hopefully we will talk about that in a little while. But what type of travelers do your tours and experiences tend to attract from the 10 years that you've been doing it?
So which every marketing company asks me, what's your avatar, and I thought I knew, and I used to say people like me, my age, but it's nothing like that. It's proved me completely wrong. We get 3 generations, we get a lot of families, and we get them as young as 4 years old. And grandparents who know the stories so well and teach me, and tell me what they're looking for, and then I have to find it. As old as I think the oldest we've had was 73. It's nothing. Stop. I never get surprised anymore about who wants to join the tours.
Yeah, so there's basically something for everyone, which is really great. I mean, it sounds like they're quite handcrafted tours, but your tours sound more intimate and high end. So how do you balance sort of luxury and authenticity?
Yes. So I think I love luxury and I want to be served. So the first thing we do is we train our skippers and our hostess so that they know our clients what they're looking for. And like I said, the only thing we don't do is roll out the red carpet. But from the very beginning to the very end is we cater for everything. We don't want them to worry about anything. So, sailing in Greece is very, very popular. You can hire your own yacht, but you never know if your skipper's going to go to the right places. We train our skippers so that is that service. Our hostess will provide not just one dish, but multiple dishes and cater for all the needs. And so the linen, the styling, the formatting, the way the table is dressed up for dinner or for lunch, very important. The authenticity is what we offer in terms of the meals, the produce that we get from local suppliers, the wines, and the experiences. So we have really local experiences. So we, and this was out of a request from a client, which now we include in our itineraries, is they wanted to do a cooking class. And so we've found in different islands, a little yaya, a little grandmother with her daughters or granddaughters who would do the cooking classes, and they would go in the vegetable garden, select their own vegetables, their own herbs, come back, prepare it. I don't know if you can get anything more authentic. The same thing with our archaeologists, replicating and reliving some of those myths that are from the origin of that place. So,
Maria, you emphasize like these local partnerships, etc., and cooking classes, we've noticed it as well, are becoming extremely popular, where people not just want to immerse with the destination, but also with the local traditions and the cuisines. So you also mentioned guides. How does that add to the experience, and how does it shape it? And what do your clients love about engaging with the local tours and the local guides, the cooking classes, etc.?
yeah, it's absolutely very important from everyone, not just when they do a cooking class, every element. So the tour guides are very private, so it's private for them. They know the story that we're telling, which part of the myth, and they blend everything together. But even the experiences that they have from the wine tasting, that they do, or local cheeses, the local delicacies of the region. We're specific. So if we go to a certain island, they'll have the dessert of that island. They get to experience it on a different level. And it is so important. And they'll tell me, I can't believe we did, this cooking class, or I can't believe we went, because we'll send them to a winery as well in different locations. And they said, we didn't know that there were such wines in Greece. The local fish, they know wherever we go, our skippers know everyone, because we've had these relationships, and the restaurants that we pick, that they know, oh, you've come from Magical Sunset. Yes, sit down. I mean, that makes us feel special.
Yeah, I mean, all of this is music to our ears, because Maria and I always, when we're on the islands, I mean, usually Maria does a lot of the research and looking like off the beaten track. I think the food and the wine, and that is all music to our ears. Like, Maria is a big foodie as well, so I can see her smiling along. But are there any, because there's so many different experiences and images that are coming into my mind. Are there any standout moments for you with a client, like, maybe one recently or one from the past that really stands out from one of the tours?
Again, a lot of things that we've improved on our tours is been the feedback from our clients. For example, on the Aegean Dream, there's ancient Garthea, which is on the part of Kia that is not inhabited, right? So we go with the yacht, but there is the Temple of Apollo, there's an amphitheater, And our archaeologist waits there so that they can play games. They do, because this is where Theseus is going to set sail, and they're going to have a little play fight, and they're preparing to fight the Minotaur. When they get there, they dress up and they're overlooking the Aegean on the amphitheatre. They usually, the first family that ever experienced it, rang me and said, "It is so beautiful here. We don't want to go back more into the bay. We want to stay out here." So if the weather permits, because that's the other thing that we need to be mindful of, is they choose to anchor out of the bay in this location. It is breathtaking, overlooking the amphitheatre and overlooking the temple, and they're just seen on the yacht that said it was the best experience we ever had.
Yeah.
It is really traveling back in time.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I get goosebumps. They send me photos while they're there. The same thing with there's all these different places that we take them to, and that's a standout.
And I think for our listeners, and we will talk about it in a bit, and it will be in the show notes, that they can go on your website and see the types of tours and itineraries that you offer. Is there sort of a recommended duration for a tour?
Yeah, the tours are 7 days.
Yeah.
And the way they work, and this is pretty much all around Europe, is it's from Saturday to Saturday. Mm-hmm. So they check in Saturday 5 o'clock, and they check out the following Saturday at 9 in the morning. Then it gives us time to clean it, prepare it, restock it for the next family.
Maria, is it worth maybe mentioning the various tours that you offer?
Yep, we have 3 tours. One, the Ionian Sea Escape, the Odysseus, which is also called Odysseus, I'm Coming Home, starting out of Lefkada. And it does Lefkada, Ionian. There's about 5 islands that they visit, Kefalonia. There is the Saronic Myth. That one is a little bit more lively, out of Alimos Marina. It includes Idra, Spetses. We go to Epidavro. We do all the archaeological sites. Egina. And then the last one is the Aegean Dream, which is more, I would say, natural, more islands, less known. It's got beautiful waters, the Cycladic, different experiences again, out of Lavrion Marina.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, the less known islands talks to us, because we're always trying to find that island that is harder to get to.
So we do, and we choose cluster of islands.
Yeah.
So we have to actually allow for, if there's any weather changes, something happens, so that we have multiple different routes to accommodate for different conditions. And we choose islands that are close to one another so we can get to them, because you don't want to be out at sea for hours. You want to enjoy the water at your pace, and enjoy the scenery.
Yeah. Wow, so much there. Are there you talked about like the food choices and menus, and I guess you accommodate just making sure that you accommodate, for all the various sort of dietary needs and requirements from people.
Yes, we do. And we make it easy for them. So we ask them a set of questions first. You'll find the yacht companies will send you a list and say, okay, what do you want? You're supposed to put yogurt, cheese, this, and people, and I want our clients to know they're on holidays. I don't want them to do a shopping list. I want to understand what they're looking for to experience, what type of foods. And that's why I've prepared, hey, there's a couple of dishes. Do you like this? Because they're not going to know the Greek words, or,
Yes.
I think everyone knows a Greek salad, or they know stuffed tomatoes and peppers, but we're more than that. So we have lots of photos of different foods with the ingredients so that I can choose from. Or they might say, can we have this dish but without that, like feta or dairy. And of course, we accommodate. And we have a few surprises. So we always about delighting and surprising our guests.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so just one final thing. So obviously when someone's booking with Magical Sunset, can you just outline kind of what's included? So you've talked about all the, apart from rolling out the red carpet, which is quite funny expression, but just to be clear for our listeners that are like, okay,
Yeah.
what's included in a Magical
Yeah.
Sunset sort of
Yeah.
itinerary?
So what's included, obviously, the yacht, the skipper, the hostess, food, which is breakfast and lunch. The lunch can be changed to dinner if they're out at bay. We give them 5 bottles of wine. We actually give them more, but that's what the standard is, what we say. We have some beer. If they want additional preferences, then that's just an extra cost. We provide tour guides, whatever's put on the schedule that we've got on the itinerary, tour guides, any transportation to those locations, the archaeologist, the games. They get a detailed itinerary, recommendations for dinner on land, and that's our favorite restaurants, that what we like, but there's more than one to choose from. Different activities that they may want to do, what other experiences they can have on the island that they're looking for. And with the itinerary, we say to them, they can either choose in part or in full of that itinerary. So they can pre-select items, and so it can be adjusted to their budget as well.
Great, fully comprehensive thing. All they need to do is book a
Is rock
trip
up.
and their flight.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was going to say, for us, because we do have some guests who travel very long distance to get to Greece, like from Australia, and they don't do just the 1 week sailing. So they'll do multiple weeks, which means they have multiple luggage, and yachts don't cater for a lot of their suitcases. So what we do is we have provisions for them to securely put their luggage. And we also give them information about where they're going to go. So by the time they arrive, they have a lot of information, like what to pack, what they need for a yacht, what they're going to experience. So they're fully immersed in just a holiday mode.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I'm there. I mean, I grew up, you probably don't know this because we haven't discussed it, but when I was growing up in Greece, my dad had a sailing boat and he used to do day trips. So I used to really not like going on the sailing boat as a kid, and now I'm like, oh, I'd love to do that like every day.
Oh my God, where
In the
from?
north of Greece in Chalkidiki, so he used to do like
That's where
sailing
I'm
trips.
from.
Oh, really? Oh,
Well, I was
wow.
born in Thessaloniki. So
Same here.
actually,
Yeah, I was born there.
oh,
Obviously,
really?
that's the
Oh my
main.
goodness.
Yeah. So yeah, sailing runs through my family, even though I haven't really adopted it that much. But yeah, if
But
there's
you
an
do love
opportunity,
it.
I do
Yeah,
love
where
any
you
opportunity
do
from
love
going
it.
on a boat. I
Oh
don't know,
my
Maria.
goodness.
Yeah, is there any questions, my Greek island, Maria, that you wanted to ask Magical Sunset, Maria?
I think let's tell our listeners how they can find you, Maria.
Yes.
How can they get in touch?
So they can send through an inquiry from our website is magicalsunset.com. And I mean, I've got also on socials, Instagram is Magical Sunset Tours, but if they go on magicalsunset.com, they can put an inquiry, they can see the tours, and they can send me an inquiry and we'll help them out.
Amazing.
I just wanted to add this is, obviously I'm in Melbourne, but my business partner is in Greece and she's also from Thessaloniki. So we're all from Thessaloniki. Our crew is from Thessaloniki, but we just happened to go to Athens and Lefkada to do the tours. But yeah, our whole team is from Thessaloniki.
Mate, there's a bit of a theme here.
Yeah.
So we will leave the your website and the and the Instagram page in the show notes for anyone to get in touch. But Maria, we've also got a surprise for our listeners, don't we?
Yes, we do. So for your listeners, anyone who books a tour with us from now until the end of December 31, they will get a 10% discount, and they can enter in their inquiry the code MGI10.
Amazing. So that would be for a 10% discount on all of the tours, all of the routes for 2026.
Yes.
Yes, so it's
Amazing.
time for them to experience magical sunset, the mythology of Greece through sailing and that fully immersive experience, which like now I'm thinking about it, I'm like, Maria, we need to
We need
gather
to
a
book.
group. We need to gather a group of 8 people and let's go.
Yes. So
For,
yes, let's clarify that. So Maria, it's for an 8+ for a group of 8+, right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
8
Amazing.
plus.
So for anyone looking to go sailing in 2026, here is your opportunity to book with Magical Sunset. We will leave all of the details in the show notes where what code you need to input when you visit the Magical Sunset website when you inquire, so you can take advantage of this amazing offer. Thank you very much, Maria, for offering that to our listeners.
yes, thank you. I
No,
mean,
my pleasure.
and finally, as we do with all our podcast episodes, we end the episode with a Greek phrase for the episode. So I don't know if you had any suggestions, Maria, from your side, or we can provide one.
Well, I thought of one,
Yeah.
and it is Έτοιμοι για ταξίδι.
Okay. Έτοιμοι για ταξίδι, which means?
Ready for travel.
Yes. So έτοιμοι για ταξίδι. So ready for travel. And I think that sums up sort of, I think the question, well, if it was a question, it would certainly be a yes from me and from Maria. We have talked about going on a sailing trip, so maybe this is our calling, like you had. Maybe it's our time to book a travel with a
Well,
sailing
I'll be waiting for
experience.
you. It'll be my
Yeah.
pleasure.
It was lovely to have you on this episode to share all about Magical Sunset. Before we close off, is there any final things you would like to say to our listeners?
This is something extremely unique. I know I say it, it's mine. And every time I still talk about it, I get emotional. It's always started from a passion. And I think your guests will be delighted to experience it.
Perfect.
We do too. So
Yeah.
people get booking, check out the show notes and get booking for your 2026 sailing trip with Magical Sunset.
Thank you.
Thanks, Maria, for joining.
Thank you.
Right, my Greek Islanders, this comes to the end of another episode of this podcast.
Now you know the drill. If you like this episode, share it to share the love with the My Greek Island community, where everyone is welcome. And
Don't forget to follow, like, subscribe, and all that jazz, and maybe give us a little rating from wherever you're listening to us from, so you are notified every time a new episode drops. And if you have any suggestions or requests, get in touch.
And for those of you visiting Greece, don't forget to tag @My Greek Island on Instagram for a future feature. Until then, see you later, or as they say in Greek,
Ta leme.